He promised millions, invented fortunes out of thin air, and fooled thousands into handing over their life savings. This is the real story of the man who turned greed into a global nightmare. In 1920, a man walked into a bank with nothing but a brilliant lie. 3 months later, he walked out with $15 million. This isn't just another story about a scammer. This is how one man created the most dangerous financial weapon in history, one that's still destroying lives today. But first, if you want to learn how to protect yourself from modern scammers, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because what I'm about to tell you, it's happening right now, all around us. Bang! That's the sound of Charles Ponzi slamming his bank account book shut after another $1 million day. Standing at his office window, he watches the crowd below. Thousands of people fighting to give him their money. Doctors, lawyers, even bank managers, all desperate to get in on his guaranteed investment scheme. The psychology behind this is so dark, it'll change how you see human nature forever. Rewind 17 years, Boston Harbor, 1903. A young Italian immigrant steps off a boat with $2.50 in his pocket and dreams of millions in his head. But this isn't your typical immigrant story. This guy, he's different. Expensive taste, charm that could melt steel, and an obsession with getting rich that would ultimately destroy thousands of lives. Years pass, failed jobs, nights sleeping in gutters, prison time for fraud. Nothing works out. Then, in 1919, Ponzi spots something so simple, it's genius international reply coupons. Just basic postal vouchers that could be exchanged for stamps in different countries. Boring, right? Wrong, because what happened next would change the face of crime forever. His pitch was simple. Give me $1,000 today, I'll give you $1,500 in 45 days, guaranteed. The secret? He claimed he was buying cheap coupons in Italy and selling them for profit in America. A simple currency arbitrage play. Money poured in. At his peak, Ponzi was pulling in $250,000 a day. That's $3.3 million in today's money. Every single day. But here's where it gets interesting. Wait, before you think you'd never fall for this, 90% of his victims knew it was a scam. So why'd they hand over their cash? The answer's worse than you think. The math was impossible. To deliver on his promises, Ponzi would have needed more postal coupons than existed in the entire world. Financial experts were screaming this from the rooftops. Newspapers were publishing the math, but people kept investing anyway. Why? Because they saw their neighbours getting rich. Early investors were making exactly what Ponzi promised. Everyone thought they could get in, make their money, and get out before it all collapsed. But there's a darker truth. One that explains why this same scam still works today, whether it's crypto schemes or fake real estate deals. Ponzi wasn't investing in anything. He was simply using new investors' money to pay the old ones. But here's the psychological twist that will haunt you. Studies show that the more educated someone is, the more likely they are to fall for complex financial scams. Think about that. Smart people think they're too smart to get scammed. They convince themselves they'll spot the warning signs and get out before it all collapses. Spoiler alert, they don't. When Ponzi's scheme finally imploded, it destroyed thousands of lives. Banks collapsed. Life savings vanished overnight. The destruction was so complete that even banks that didn't invest with him crashed, because their customers withdrew all their money to give to Ponzi. But here's something most people don't know. Even after being exposed, Ponzi kept the scheme running for weeks. He knew it was over. He knew he'd be arrested, but he kept taking people's money anyway. Why? Because by then he believed his own lies. He thought he could somehow turn it around. His fall was spectacular. From his mansion on the hill to a prison cell, from custom suits to prison stripes. But Ponzi? He just tried to start the same scam again. In Florida, this time selling swampland to desperate investors. The audacity is mind-blowing. The press called him a monster. But the truth is worse. He was just like us. A regular person who convinced himself that the rules didn't apply to him, that he was special, different, smarter than everyone else. Here's the terrifying part. Right now, as you're watching this, hundreds of Ponzi schemes are operating around the world. Different promises, same game. And just like Ponzi's victims, people are walking into them with their eyes wide open, thinking they're smart enough to beat the system. Modern Ponzi schemes are even more dangerous. Why? Because technology makes them easier to run and harder to spot. Social media, crypto, NFTs. The tools change, but the psychology stays the same. The desire to believe we're smarter than everyone else, that we can spot the scam when others can't. Remember those victims who knew it was a scam but invested anyway? There's a modern twist that makes this even scarier. Today's scammers actually use this psychology against you. They'll hint that it might be a scam, knowing that makes some people more likely to invest. It's reverse psychology taken to a terrifying new level. Think you're too smart to fall for a scam. Research shows that confidence in your ability to spot scams actually makes you more vulnerable to them. Let that sink in. Drop a comment below. What would you do if you knew something was probably a scam, but you saw everyone around you getting rich from it? Would you jump in, hoping to get out in time? If this story scared you as much as it should, smash that like button and subscribe. Remember, sometimes the most dangerous scams aren't the ones that fool you. They're the ones you fool yourself into believing you can beat. See you in the next video. Stay safe out there, because the modern Ponzis, they're just getting started.